So this is a perfect example of a trend and trading within the range of the trend during the last down segment, right? So this is the ES, the S&P 500 futures, and I'm on the 1 hour chart. And generally, when we're looking at trends, we want to look at a slightly higher time frame than the one that we're going to be trading on, right? So I'm looking at my trend on the 1 hour or even the 15 minute, right? So here you see a clear downtrend. There's lower lows and lower highs. This high is lower than this one, and this high is lower than this one. So we're creating lower lows and lower highs as we go. And the last segment of this is the one that we would trade in. We want to find a trade in this down segment here and find a zone in this segment. And so just to explain briefly when this trend would continue or when it would be terminated, if it breaks this prior high, this is called the swing high because it's the last high that led to a new lower low. This low broke this low, and you can see this dashed line here. I was waiting for it to pass that dashed red line in order to be considered a downtrend to be continued, right? If it didn't break that, it would still be just kind of trading in this little area here. So it broke this previous low. So this became the new swing high, right? And so technically, since we're still between this dashed blue line and the bottom of this box that I made, we are technically still trading in that segment. This should actually be a little high. It should be right here. I just wanted people to see that blue dashed line there. So technically, we're still trading in this down segment. So we're kind of uncertain right now because if you go on a lower time frame, like the 15, it looks like even though we're in the 1 hour down segment, on a lower time frame, it looks like we're kind of almost creating like a potential new uptrend. If it breaks above this high here, this price goes above this high, then we'd have a lower time frame uptrend, which sometimes, almost all the times, the trends start happening on lower time frames first before they transition into the higher time frame. So you'll see an uptrend on the 1 minute and the 5 minute and the 15 minute before you see it on the 1 hour. It just kind of happens that way, right? So if this continues upwards and breaks this high on the 15-minute time frame, then we can be like, okay, there's a potential uptrend in the future, especially if it breaks this high. That's how you would know that this downtrend would be terminated, right? This downtrend is going down, and as long as we are within this range, it's still considered a downtrend unless it breaks above this dotted blue line. Now, here's an important thing to know. It's not necessarily now an uptrend if that happens. It doesn't mean that because we broke this dashed line that we are now in an uptrend. It just means that the downtrend is canceled, it's terminated. So if this goes above here, then we can say, okay, on the 1 hour time frame, if it crosses this blue line, we are no longer in a 1 hour downtrend. So we can cancel that. Now we go on a lower time frame and we say, okay, if it breaks above this high right here, that means we are on a 15-minute uptrend. And then if it crosses this dashed line, then it became an uptrend on the 15-minute, and it also canceled at a 1 hour downtrend. So that's actually a good sign. So right now as I said, we are trading in this range of the 1 hour, what's called the breakout segment. It's the segment that led to a new lower low, which is here. We're in that range. We are in that structure, and that's what they mean when they say break of structure, or we're trading within structure. So we are still within this structure, this breakout segment. We haven't broken out of the structure yet. So I'm a little cautious at this point, waiting to see what happens, to see if we cancel this 1 hour downtrend and create a new uptrend on the 15-minute. Then I'll start to think about getting in a trade on a smaller time frame because it would look like it's trending upwards on a lower time frame. So that explains this little purple box is the structure. So that took me a little while. Like when people were saying break of structure or we're trading within structure, I was a little uncertain at first what that meant. And this little pink box that I made is the structure. It's the most recent high that led to the most recent lower low. This low is lower than this low here. So as I said, we're trading within the structure, and we're waiting to see what happens. Is it going to continue? Is this just a complex pullback before it continues and breaks this low again? In which case, this this would be a downtrend continued if it breaks below this dashed red line. If it goes down here and breaks that low, then we say, okay, we're still in a 1 hour downtrend. If it continues upwards and breaks this dashed blue line, then I'd be like, okay, we're terminating this 1 hour downtrend, and we're starting a new 15-minute uptrend. And remember, just because it breaks and cancels and terminates this 1 hour downtrend does not mean that we are now in a 1 hour uptrend. It just means that the 1 hour is canceled. It would, however, mean that we were in a 15-minute uptrend. So we can go down to the 15 or even the 5 or the 2-minute time frame and look for zones, supply and demand zones to get in, right? To get in for a long position. Because you always want to trade with the trend. You know, if you're surfing in the ocean, you're not going to surf from the sand into the ocean. You're going to surf from the waves into the sand, right? You're into land, because that's the way that the waves are going. So if this creates a new wave to the upside, we want to join that wave. We want to join the wave that the big institutions are creating. We're literally just surfing these big waves, and we're waiting. We're like surfers right now. We're just waiting to see what happens. Right now, we're in the middle of this range, more or less, top third, but just still in the range in that. And we're not sure. Is it going to continue upwards, or is it going to continue the downtrend? It's starting to look bullish on the 15-minute downtrend, on the 15-minute time frame. So right now, I'm just waiting to see if this creates a lower time frame uptrend, and that's going to be bullish to me to get in for a long. I hope this helps to understand a little bit about trends and how to see that there's trends on a higher time frame, and within these segments, there are smaller time frames. There are smaller trends. You can go on the 15-minute. There's like, you can see there's starting to be trends in those smaller time frames. If you go down even further, let's say even the 2 minutes. Remember, this blue line is the down segment of the 1 hour, and you can see there's a downtrend inside of it. So you could have gotten in here for a short on a pullback. This created a new downtrend here on the 2-minute time frame, and you could have ridden that wave down to the bottom. So this kind of illustrates how within a trend, it's the stock market and the futures market, all markets are basically a fractal in nature. It's like if you look at a tree and you zoom in like this, you're seeing the individual little leaves or stems, right, of the tree. Then you zoom out a little bit. Oh, now I'm seeing like the bigger like little stems or small branches, right, of the tree. And then you go out into the 15-minute, you're like, okay, now I'm seeing like the bigger branches. And then you go to the 1 hour, and it's like, oh, I'm starting to see, several branches together. And then you go out to the daily, and it's like, oh, it's the whole tree, right? So if you look at the daily, we were in an uptrend. We created a little downtrend here, and now we broke this swing high, and we are not necessarily in an uptrend yet. For a daily uptrend, they would have to break this high here. We'd have to create like a check mark, right? A lightning bolt. So you can see this lightning bolt here to the downside. That was a downtrend. It was terminated as soon as this swing high was broken. But now we're kind of uncertain. We're not sure if it's going to go up or go down. It could create a new downtrend to the bottom, or it could go up and create a new uptrend. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but as you can see, the markets are fractal in nature. You go down and down, down, and right here looks like it's going down, but you can also, if you go down into a smaller time frame, you see, there's actual trends happening in there as well. You might even, if you go down to a 2-minute, you might even see a little uptrend, and you're like, oh, it's uptrend, but you're within this greater, higher time frame down segment. Hope that helps.